Hey guys, welcome back to Cars on the Means, and we have NFL Week 5 Power Rankings coming out a few days before they normally do, and I'm gonna start doing this every week. I'm gonna post them. I'm gonna hopefully post them on Wednesday, so they're out before the Thursday night game because I was kind of complaining to myself, and I got a lot of complaints also. Like my people who watch my video, they didn't like how, I would actually like do the rankings before the Thursday night game, and then I make the videos after the Thursday night game. So, it was kind of weird because like a team would have a completely breakout game on Thursday, and then I would still have them really low. So I've decided I'm gonna put them out early, and so it's gonna be a lot of work for me to do the power rankings and then do the predictions right after that. It's gonna be a lot of late nights, but I will power through it and we'll get this dub. So let's go ahead. This is part one of my Week 5 power rankings. So this is going to be the bottom 16. Up in the top, you should be seeing a link around now. If not, it should be coming soon. For part 2, wait till the end of this video to watch that one, please. And yeah, I just split them into 2 parts just because if it was in one part, it'd be like a 40-minute long video, and I don't want to force you guys to have to sit through 40 minutes of that. So you can kind of, watch one part here, watch another part here, or you can just watch them both back to back. You do however you'd like. And let's go ahead and get into it. So, again, they're having a pretty bad season down here. We got Ryan Fitzpatrick, so the Dolphins are somewhere in here. I try to put like players, some teams that are going to be somewhere down here. Like I don't think anyone's really putting the Dolphins above the 25th place. I don't think anyone's putting them in the top 25. So I kind of put Ryan Fitzpatrick there because no Dolphins fans are going to freak out like, why'd you have us down here? So yeah, in 32nd we have the Jets. Only really big news moving into Week 5 for them is that Sam Darnold is out with a shoulder injury. And so Joe Flacco will be starting. So in my opinion, I do think this bumps him up just a bit, but not enough to move him up a full spot. I do think Joe Flacco is better than Sam Darnold, but looking at the whole situation with Adam Gase and that whole team just being pretty bad, I don't think that just a small change at quarterback to a veteran player who, for all we know, is going to come out there and play terribly. I'm just going to leave him at 32 if Joe Flacco goes out there and he manages to beat the Cardinals, they will definitely move up a bit, and they will be above the Giants, who have just been atrocious, really. I considered them moving them up after they did play a pretty good game against the Rams, but still, they managed to hold the Rams to 17 points, which I guess is pretty good, but still, the Giants, they just have been playing terribly ever since Saquon Barkley got injured, and I'm just going to see this happening for a while now. This season is kind of be a throwaway season, but also we're going to kind of see what they have in Daniel Jones. Because right now, with no running game really, with Saquon Barkley gone, we're kind of seeing what this team would be if we just had Daniel Jones, and seeing how they've been doing. It's not looking very good. They haven't gotten a touchdown in these past 2 games that I'm aware of, and yeah, it's just really, really going to be terrible in my opinion. So yeah, they're 31st. They're not as bad as the Jets. The Jets are just kind of like on their whole other league. Like they'd be 35th if I could put them down there, but. Yeah, so the Giants, they're pretty safely at 31. I don't think there's really any chance of them moving down unless the Jets do something drastic like fire Adam Gase. If they lose 50-0 and then fire Adam Gase, they will move up, okay? Just saying. And then in 30th, we have the Denver Broncos. I know they won last week, but they beat the Jets, and they beat them barely. In my opinion, I think Brett Rippon kind of impressed me. I think that he played better than I thought he would, but it's this defense that really, it looked pretty bad. And also, Brett Rippon did throw a couple interceptions there. So, yeah, the Broncos are not looking too good. And they dropped down 3. Even with Brett Rippon in there, I thought they'd do better than they did this week. At least they managed to beat the Jets, who, like I said, are a dumpster fire. And yeah, they're basically just holding out until Drew Lock comes back. They're really lucky. They played against the Jets, and then they're going up against the Patriots, who are going with their. I don't even know who's going to start for them. Probably Stidham, and he played terribly. I said, well, we'll get to the Patriots. But yes, they've gotten pretty lucky with the 2 games they get to play now. But yeah, so here we go. In 29th, just coming out of the 30s, we have the Dolphins, as you see. Really, they're basically the These 3 are really down here. Well, yeah, these 3 are on their whole other level. You've got a dumpster fire, and then you got 2 injured. Well, all 3 of these guys have huge injuries. The Dolphins, they don't really have any injuries. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been, slated to start from Week 5, and we're gonna see what they're going to do for week 6. So right now, they just haven't been impressing me. I was thinking, Ryan Fitzpatrick had been having some good games, and then he goes up against a tough Seahawks defense. He did throw for more than 300 yards, but he also threw for 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. So a pretty bad game there for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Might be the most inconsistent quarterback in the NFL right now. So they do drop down 1, but they don't drop down that much, mainly because it was against that really tough Seahawks defense. And they did manage to keep it close in that game. So, I'm going to drop them down 1, but we'll see what they can do. They're 1-3. Yeah. Next up, we have the Eagles, who actually move up a couple because they did manage to beat the 49ers, which I really didn't think would happen, but apparently it did. Again, they didn't really play too well. The 49ers also played terribly. It was 2 really bad teams going up against each other. Which says a lot because, the 49ers are so completely injury-ridden, and the fact that the Eagles barely managed to beat them off of a pick 6, luckily. Again, and their third-string quarterback managed to almost get 2 touchdowns against their defense. Really tells me something. So 28th is where they go. You can really just ignore all this. If I don't really talk about it, it doesn't really mean much. Like I talked about, the Dolphins moving down, that means something. The Eagles, yeah, they impressed me, but they didn't knock me off. They didn't knock my socks off. So, moving up to 27th, we have the Detroit Lions, who, they kept it close with the Saints, which I don't know if that says something bad for the Saints. I don't know if that says something good with the Lions. But what I'm seeing here is that, the Lions, they do have a lot of talent. And in my opinion, they should be 2-2. Again, we're going back to that Bears game. The Lions, they do have a lot of talent. Matthew Stafford, he's been playing pretty well. Especially Adrian Peterson has been surprising me like crazy. He's been playing really well. So right now, the Lions, they do have lots of talent. They managed to move up a couple. And we'll see what they can do this week. Let's move on to 26. And in 26, we have the Washington football team. They kind of impressed me a bit. I know they lost by 14, but also their offense did play a lot better than I thought it would. And then they benched Dwayne Haskins, and they make Kyle Allen the starter. So that kind of, again, it doesn't do much, but it does keep him down there. I think Alex Smith is definitely better than Kyle Allen. I think that what's going to happen is that Kyle Allen's probably going to lose to the Rams, barely beat the Giants, and then have Alex Smith be put in. But I do think that eventually Alex Smith will be in there. But right now, the Washington, they're kind of just slowly moving their way down the power rankings. We'll see what happens this week. For all we know, we saw at the beginning of last year, Kyle Allen was a stud. He played great. He was insane. And now, not so much. Well, towards the end of last season, they benched him for Will Grier. So we'll have to see which Kyle Allen are we going to get. Kyle Allen went up against Washington last year, and he got completely embarrassed. So, yeah. Next up, in 25th, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, it's been rough for them so far. These past couple of weeks have anyways. They got a pretty good win there in week 1. They looked great. Then they go into week 2 and they lose to the Titans, but they still look pretty good. They got a bit of the decline there. Week 3, they keep it close, but they still lose. And then in week 4, it's just all kind of falling apart. We'll see what they can do. They are definitely playing better than I thought they would. If you asked me before, preseason, I think at one point I actually had them. I think actually in my week 1 power rankings, I had them at 30. So overall, since week 1, they have moved up a bit. But still, the bright spot is still James Robinson. But right now, they've been underperforming. Just kind of like last year. They started off really good, and then they're kind of drifting. And then next up, we have, you could be doing better. We have 3-armed Teddy Bridgewater right here. He's not actually 3 arms. You can see the other player behind him. I didn't realize that the other player was behind him at first because I put the picture here. And I was like, well, what the heck is that? But then I saw a little bit down there. Anyways, so, these are just kind of like the meh teams. You could think, when you start talking about them, you're like, they're just doing meh. Of course, the Bears, you might not say that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say they're doing bad. They might be the worst 3-1 team there is. They really should be 2-2. They really should be 0-4, in my opinion. They benched Mr. Trubisky for Nick Foles, and now I'm hearing that there are trade rumors that they could actually be looking to trade for a quarterback. So that's pretty That's pretty surprising in my opinion. So Nick Foles, he went out there and he kind of got embarrassed by the Colts defense, which, I mean, from what we've seen, might be the best in the league. I mean, they are playing great, which, again, I'll talk about probably in my next video. But for all I know, I'm not trying to spoil anything. For all I know, they could be over here. But right now, the Bears, their defense is still playing pretty well. I mean, they did hold the Colts to 19 points. But, yeah, we're going to have to see more from Nick Foles for me to really, because if Nick Foles has a couple more bad games, they're going to plummet even farther from 24th. If he goes back to playing kind of like he did, we've seen him play before coming in for injured quarterbacks. What they should do is they should let Mitch Trubisky play for one quarter and then put Nick Foles in for the rest of the three, and then he'd play really well. I mean, I'm being completely honest. He might actually play better like that. But yeah, and if he plays two like really good games, or even just one, they'll move up. I mean, they'll launch up. And then 23rd, we have the Patriots, who have fallen because their quarterback got injured, and now I'm seeing that Brian Hoyer is going to be starting. I mean, as of right now, he is their quarterback one for next week, which makes sense. He did play better on Monday than I think Jared Stidham did. And then possibly their best defensive player, Stephon Gilmore. I think maybe the best, probably actually the best cornerback in the league. Stephon Gilmore now has COVID. So the Patriots, they kind of plummet pretty far. I mean, even last week, even on Monday, we saw Stephon Gilmore making some good plays. So if Stephon Gilmore hadn't gotten injured or sick, they'd probably be like at 18th or something. But they got two huge blows. When your quarterback one gets injured, and then your backup quarterback start playing terribly, and then your main defensive player, not main, but like one of your best defensive players gets COVID, it's just not looking too good for the Patriots right now. Let's hope that no one else gets COVID. Let's hope that, they all make a swift recovery. But right now, it's looking pretty bad. And then in the 22nd, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, who got their first win. Yippee. They didn't really change much. They managed to beat the Jaguars here, who, like I said, are kind of just plummeting into a bit of madness at this point. Joe Burrow is playing really, really, really well, and he is playing well consistently. I know they're 1-2-1, but in all of these games, he's looked really, really good. He's looked really, really good for a rookie. He's looked like a solid quarterback, okay? I mean, he was in their tie against the Eagles, he was playing 50 times better than Carson Wentz is right now. So as he develops and as he slowly gets even better than he is now, he is definitely going to take off, and we will see them start moving up as they obviously have now, as they got their first win. I mean, they've basically got a completely healthy offense except for CJ Uzomah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do if they can, keep it up. For all we know, Joe Burrow is going to completely collapse. But right now, he is being pretty consistent. And then on the 21st, we have another injury-stricken team. We had the 49ers. They didn't really move much because I don't think they really surprised me. The only thing that really kind of blew my socks off is the fact that, C.J. Beathard, their third-string quarterback, like I was talking about, he was going up against a pretty bad Eagles defense, but he was moving down the field, especially in that first drive they gave him. He went down the field and scored a touchdown in like 3 minutes. And then he goes on the field and he almost scores another touchdown, but then they got a couple dirty hits on him and made him throw the ball away. So that was a couple good plays there in a row by the Eagles defense, but still. So the 49ers, they moved down just slightly. Because I'm pretty sure they're starting Nick Mullins next week, so yeah, it's not looking too good. Unless Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, which he is questionable now. He's not ruled out for this next week's game, so we'll have to see what they can do. And then 20th, we have the Panthers. I thought, last week may have been just a fluke. Teddy Bridgewater played really well. I thought they'd try to incorporate Mike Davis a lot more into the game, and I thought that would make them lose a lot. They did incorporate Mike Davis a lot into this game, and he played great. And Teddy Bridgewater went out there, and he played great. And they beat the Cardinals by 10. And they played really, really well. And now they're 2-2. And in my opinion, looking at, I think right now they're tied with the Saints for second in their division. They're looking like a pretty good team. And I think that, they can make it. I'm being honest here. If they keep it up, I think they're going to move throughout my power rankings. And I think that at the end of this year, if they keep playing the way they have these past 2 weeks, I don't know if that means, and especially if they get Christian McCaffrey back, I do still think that will make them play even better. I think the Panthers actually have a pretty good shot of making the playoffs this year. I know I might be overreacting to these past 2 weeks, but if they keep it up, then I mean, and plus, looking at these first couple of games that they played, they had a really close game against the Raiders, and now we're seeing that the Raiders are playing really well. So, yeah, the Panthers may be the most underrated team in the league right now, but they still are only in 20th, and we'll see what they can do. In 19th, we have the Texans. They were only going to move down a couple, then they fired Bill O'Brien, so they moved down. Well, I think even though Bill O'Brien is terrible, anytime you fire your head coach, unless your head coach is Adam Gase, you're probably going to move down a bit, even if it's probably just going from 3 to 4. So, really, I mean, Deshaun Watson really, he deserves better. I mean, it's crazy, and he's going to get a lot more pressure whenever their new head coach gets in, or their interim head coach. I've already forgotten that guy's name. They're probably going to stop using David Johnson, and they're probably going to start leaning on Deshaun Watson a lot here. And the Texans, they're kind of just falling. And then in 18th, we have the Minnesota Vikings, who actually played the Texans, and they got their first win. And now they are 1-3. They jump up by 5 because, I mean, they have been slowly improving. The first 2 weeks they played terribly. Last week they had a huge improvement from the first 2 weeks, and this week they are slowly improving off of even last week. They are getting better. They are starting to look like a resemblance of the team that we saw last year. And I mean, if they can keep it up, this team could go places. But right now they are only 1-3. They are above the Lions, but we'll have to see what they can do, especially when they have a 4-0 and 3-1 teams above them. They could definitely get past the Bears, but it's going to take some miracle work for them to get past the Packers at this point. So, yeah, I mean, like, they're doing pretty mad. Like, the Panthers and the Vikings, these are two teams that they're only really down here because they've only had a couple good weeks. And if they keep it up, they're definitely going to leave mad and go up to different places. And at 17th, we have the Cowboys, who actually move up a lot because they played really well against a really good Browns team. I mean, obviously they haven't been shown here, so they're going to be in the next video, which you should watch after I talk about the Cowboys, or you can just go ahead and go now and I'll let you know the Cowboys are down here. I don't really care what you do. You do what you want. I keep looking at my, I know you guys don't know this, but I keep looking at my webcam every single time that I'm, like, talking sometimes. Like, I'll start talking, I'll just stare at my webcam. So, I just thought you guys should know that little backup thing there. So Dak Prescott has been playing really, really well, in my opinion. I mean, I was really underrating him in the offseason. I'm seeing now he is playing really well, and he's bumped up some more. If they keep on playing this well, which, I mean, next week they have a pretty easy opponent in the Giants. Obviously, I think it's pretty easy. They're 31st. They have a pretty good chance. I'm pretty sure if they win this week and the Eagles lose this week, I'm pretty sure the Cowboys could end up being first in the division. I mean, I think, the NFC East is such a terrible division that really any of these teams could bump up. I mean, last week the Eagles were in third, and now, just with one win, they are now bumped up to first. It is crazy. not just one win, but their first win. So, yeah, that's about all I have for this video. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do my outro, switch over, stop the video, start a video, and then start going to part 2. So if you want to, see basically a continuation of this, hop on over into that video. It should be in the info box above, or you can just check my channel, and it should be somewhere down there. I mean, I'm sure if you're watching this, it's somewhere near week 5. I don't think you'd be watching this in like week 17 or something. If you are, make sure to comment that, because that'd be pretty hilarious in my opinion. Not just in week 17, but like week 6 and beyond. Alrighty then. Please subscribe. We do this kind of stuff every single week. You do power rankings, as you're seeing now. We do predictions every Thursday. I'm a Washington fan, so I do a preview of each Washington game, and I do a very, very biased reaction to each Washington game. And yeah, and we also do recaps. Every week we do Monday night recaps, Thursday night recaps, just weekly recaps, all kinds of stuff. You'll find that all on my channel. Go ahead and subscribe. In my description, you'll find links to my Twitter, Instagram, and all of my socials, which are Twitter and Instagram. So that'd be very grateful if you went ahead and followed those. I'm gonna, I'm probably not gonna tweet during games, but I tweet every now and then. I'd just be grateful if you went ahead and followed those. If I started getting followers, I'd probably post a lot more. Just saying. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.